Welcome back. I'm Isabel Quinlan. It's Reconciliation Week and we are looking at what local councils are doing to make a difference. Darcy McGregor reports. On this Reconciliation Week, let's just take a step back for a minute and look at the origins of the week and why we have it. I'm now joined by co-chair of Reconciliation Victoria, Michelle Isles. Thanks for joining us today, Michelle.
Thank you, Isabel. Great to be here.
So what is Reconciliation Week?
Well, Reconciliation Week came out of a people's movement that responded to, I guess, a lack of equity and a need for truth-telling in our community about the experiences of Aboriginal and Torres Strait Islander peoples. So Reconciliation Week happens between the 27th of May and the 3rd of June each year. And that's bookended by two really important dates in history.
Can you tell us a little bit about those important events?
Certainly. So the 27th of May marks the 1967 referendum, and that's when the majority of Australians voted to include Aboriginal and Torres Strait Islander people in the census, but it also meant that the Australian government could then make decisions on behalf of Aboriginal people as citizens. The other important date is, of course, Mabo, so that's the 3rd of June. And this marks a historic date where the High Court made a Mabo decision, which of course removed terra nullius, which was a fraught concept that Australia wasn't inhabited by anyone before it was colonised and invaded, some would say.
What is the significance or meaning behind this year's theme, Grounded in Truth, Walk Together with Courage?
I mentioned that reconciliation is a people's movement, so across communities, at the local level, at local government, through organisations and at state, people have been getting together and seeking better outcomes and better relationships ultimately. But Aboriginal and Torres Strait Islander people have long called for a truth-telling process, something that we might see in South Africa, for example. And that's because the experience of Aboriginal people has been extremely damaging from the time of colonial. So it's important, we think, that at the local level that we really understand the origins of the peoples and the lands in which people live, that they connect to understand some of those negative experiences so that we can work through and build more positive relationships, but also a better experience for all Australians.
Do you think this understanding has grown? Like, has reconciliation efforts progressed?
Absolutely. Reconciliation Victoria hosts the Heart Award, so it's helping achieve reconciliation together. And we've seen local governments across Victoria go to extraordinary efforts to really listen and, importantly, to create space and a voice for Aboriginal people in those communities. So we're seeing a huge effort. You will have seen the Long Walk on the weekend, 15 years, of course, since that famous walk to Canberra by Michael Long, and that was has really catalysed and garnered a lot of support, interest, and importantly those truth-telling discussions. To walk with courage and together is what that's all about, and that's what we're celebrating in this week, Reconciliation Week.
As you just mentioned, there's so many things that people can get involved in, but what can Australians do to continue to contribute to Reconciliation Week or reconciliation in general? That's
right. So this is National Reconciliation Week is of course just 1 week in the year, and Aboriginal and Torres Strait Islander people face discrimination and every day of the year. So it's important that from this week we learn, we listen, we build connections. You can follow Reconciliation Victoria and Reconciliation Australia. We have a wealth of resources on our website at Reconciliation Vic. We have a website called Magali, which is Here in This Place, and that's where Victorians can in particular look at the place in which they live and understand the Aboriginal people that live there, understand how they can get involved in local groups. So through events to experiences and education resources they can take into schools and other workplaces. There's a lot to find, but this is the week to really learn and think about what you're going to do throughout the year.
That's fantastic. Thank you so much for joining us today, Michelle. It's been great having you in the studio.
Thank you. Appreciate your time.
It's now time for a short break. We'll be back in a moment.